Hello and welcome to Tech Talk. I'm Jonathan Joseph, and joining me today is both of the founders of a company called Vezopay, which is paving the way for wearable technology, not only in South Africa, but globally. Jake and Lawrence, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
So for those that don't know, what exactly is Vezopay?
So Vezopay is a wearable payment wearables company that you can check us out on vezopay.com. We are offering at the moment passive payment wearables to the community, and basically what that entails is what we're all about is bringing convenience and ease to everyone's life. We're basically a convenience company, and what we've brought out right now is a payment ring, where you can buy one of these rings, tokenize your existing bank card onto this ring, and you can go and use that ring to make payments anywhere in the world, of course. Now, that ring will never need to be charged. It is completely secure, and it can be managed basically in your banking app. You can managing your banking card will manage the ring, and that's just a really convenient tool for making payments in a world that requires a lot of that these days. But everything we use to make payments these days needs to be either charged or also sends us 50 notifications a minute on WhatsApp, Instagram, and Snapchat, and so on. Whereas this is a technology, and then what we're all about is the convenience of paying simply, fast, easily, but without all, we want nothing back from you. You just use the ring in your life, let it free you from everything else.
So why exactly a ring? Is there maybe a story behind it?
Absolutely, and I'll have to get Jake to tell the story behind, first of all, why a ring. Well, ring is a very unique way to make payments, but it's also about it's magic. It's a truly magical piece of equipment that it's basically this tiny microchip that's in there that does this entire payment process in a secure way. It's really something special, but it's also just that convenient because it's light enough so that you don't feel. It's small enough so you may not notice it, and it's also fashionable. I mean, if you look at our website, you'll see there's different styles you can have, to match your different. And the ring just is it's kind of an everything. It's it encompasses everything from fashion to comfort to just ease of use. But there is a story as to how it all came about, and I'm sure that's where we're headed. And I'll definitely have to ask Jake to jump in with that story as to why the ring and why we went this route.
Yeah, sure. So the reason we decided to go with the ring initially was, as everybody knows, you got payment watches out in the market. You can pay with your phone. The tap to pay industry at the moment is taking over as the predominant way of paying. It is the most convenient way to pay. So for our technology to stand out as a company, we decided what is the most groundbreaking design of a wearable that people haven't seen before. And the rings are a pretty hot topic at the moment with Google, Samsung, and Apple Pay all bringing out their wearables, their rings, which, side note, for now, it hasn't been released that they've got payments. They're focusing solely on health. And that has also been pretty hot topic as a wearable form factor, because it's the future of what is something that we haven't seen before, and that's the smallest part of the body, that when people see us use it, like Lawrence said, they think it's magic. Because the first question is, well, how did you fit a battery in there? How does it work? How is it possible that it can do a payment? And we wanted to kind of enter the market with something that was groundbreaking and grabbed the attention, and it has, which is why we're talking to you guys today, because obviously you guys also have heard about us. And so that's one of the reasons why we chose a ring. The story behind how the idea of any sort of wearable, because we're not just a ring company, we are a wearables company, as Lawrence mentioned earlier, is I was actually traveling overseas. I used to travel a lot, and one of the destinations I was in was Thailand. And in Thailand, a lot of what you do is in and out of boats. You travel a lot between islands like that. there's a lot of day trips where you're on boating and you have to carry money with you and you want to make payments, or there's even pool bars and breakfast bars inside the hotels and the restaurants where you have to make payments. So one of the things we didn't mention is the ring is waterproof, and it's batteryless. So
Wow.
when I was traveling and needed to make these payments, I was carrying my wallet in my pocket, and I didn't have. This was a couple of years ago. This was before payment watches had come to South Africa. And obviously, my phone, I couldn't take it with me. It wasn't waterproof. And it wasn't secure. I wanted to make sure my phone was safe. So I locked it in a locker, my whole bag. And my wallet was in my pocket. And I was like, this is very inconvenient for me. Like, I didn't know what to do. And I was in the water and my wallet actually got damaged. And the chips in my card got damaged.
Yo.
And the money in my pocket was like literally floating out in the water there. And there I'm like having my money quickly making a payment. I thought, like, this is inconvenient. There's got to be something that can solve this problem. And that's the backing of where the idea sparked. And it just excited me. So I was a lot involved in procurement and sourcing and developing products and things. So I wanted to develop something that I was passionate about. And this was something that I thought, like Lauren said, it brings convenience to people's lives. And that's how we connected, because I approached many people to say, well, how do we pull this off? Because the procurement and the designing of the product was something I knew I was strong at, but to figure out how to get the software and the back end of it, because it is, in the end of the day, a piece of technology that is backed by very secure technology or software. And that's why I approached Lawrence, because he's strong in software. And that's basically how the beginning of Vezopay came about. And Lawrence was, after approaching many people who all told me, Jake, don't bother. This is an impossible task. The payment space is for banks and for very big entities. And now it's very exciting because the banks, who are very big entities, a lot of them are behind us and starting to come on board. But I'm sure I don't want to jump. I'm sure you got questions rather before I spill all the news.
Yeah.
And that's the reason in the story on my side.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt that the durability is there, and the way that you just designed the ring itself is the functionality and everything. It works perfectly fine. And I love the fact that you told the story about traveling around and the water part about it, that it's waterproof. So there's really a lot that went into this. But I want to get a bit to the security side of things, specifically with the tap and go technology in South Africa. It's I don't want to say it's fairly new, but it has come about and been released into the market since the year 2010 and really been rolled out by some of the major banks in 2012. So how do you secure or ensure people that they can actually trust this technology?
So that's a great question, and we get a lot of questions around security. Now, being South African, both of us, we understand the need for a robust security wherever we go for anything we have on us at any time. So we understand and we made sure that this is as secure as possible. Now, what you have is the tap to pay technology. As you say, 2010 it started, 2012 became popular, but to this point, in 2020, I believe, it began to explode. That's when it really took off during COVID. Now, as it stands, I believe it's around 85% of all transactions are tap to pay transactions, which means the actual adoption of the technology is gigantic. It's the largest payment method currently in the world. Now, what we have is our ring is tokenized, which means your card detail that you're using to pay is not on the ring. It never meets the ring. The only person, so basically what a token is it's a random string of randomly generated numbers and letters and whatever the case on it takes this huge token, 256-bit encrypted token, places it on this chip. Now, the only person that can decrypt, well, not a company or entity that can decrypt that token is either Visa or MasterCard, depending on which card manufacturer gave you that token. So basically, that when you tap your ring and you make a payment, that point of sale device sends that token to, now it's said, okay, that's a Visa token, I'm sending it to Visa. Visa are the only ones who can say, oh, that token belongs to this person, that belongs to this bank account, and now you can make a payment. Now, beyond that, the banks themselves have specific regulations around what they allow and don't allow for payments to take place when you're doing a tap to pay transaction. For example, anytime it's over 500 Rand in South Africa, that's the standard, it will ask you for your PIN. Now that applies to our ring, because remember, the ring is just an extension of your card in a safer environment. So it's a tokenized version of the card. So when the machine sees that token is that it actually belongs to that person and belongs to that account, it belongs to that card, it says, oh, but this is over 500 Rand. Our protocol says PIN required. So it's basically like a chip and PIN payment, but with the one level extra security, being tokenized, so that no one can ever come and skim your ring and take that detail and go use it online or something like that, because all they'll get is a random bunch of letters and numbers that they could never decrypt if they tried. So that's where the security comes in, and beyond that, I mean, I don't want to speak too much of what the banks have in place, but there's a fortune of anti-fraud. Basically AI, but it's actually machine learning, and there's a distinction there that. But basically, it will say, okay, you made a payment in Johannesburg. Now there's another payment trying to go off in PE. It doesn't make sense for you to be in both places at the same time, so I need a payment there. Or it will say, spending irregularly. You normally do this on a Friday, but now you're doing this. Now I want to PIN, and so on. So there's all of these security aspects in already pre-built into using the ring, because the banks and Visa themselves and MasterCard have created this environment where that security exists. And then we went one step further and tokenized the actual credentials, so that there is no way to skim the ring itself.
Well, now that leads me
I'd like to just add to that. On top of being integrated into already the very strong anti-fraud and chip and PIN and everything, the tokenization, which we push a lot because we're at the frontier of tokenization. That's one of our main things that we can assign tokens to devices and wearables. On top of all that security, you can go into our app and you can pause or lock the ring at any point. So if you were to have lost your device or anything, you can go and lock your ring, pause it. And the benefit to that also is, traditionally, if you lost your bank card, you would have to actually stop the card, which is another form of inconvenience. And then you got to order another card from the bank, and then all your online transactions that you had set up to that card are going to bounce, and you're going to have to reset that up. So with ours, you can pause the ring, and like Lawrence is saying, there's none of your credentials were stored on the card. So your card is still safe. So now you lock the ring and you say, that's sorted out. I can get a new ring and just reassign the same bank card to get a new bank card. Further on top of that, you can also phone your bank. Your banks can see out your token or your ring on their end, and you can ask them to stop it or pause it at any time. So like Lauren said, it's like a chip and PIN card with a chip and PIN security with added tokenization and an app that allows you a bit of extra control.
Thank you for answering that. So both of you actually answered both of my questions, because I was going to ask, what happens if you lose it? Can you deactivate it? So it's a cool thing to find out that you can actually lock the ring. And then I would have asked about basically the concerns of accidental payments and walking by. But Lawrence mentioned the 500 Rand payment limit. And this leads me to my final question. What's the future for Vezopay looking like beyond the payment ring, actually?
That's a really it's a great question, and it is something that we think of every single day. You know, what is beyond the payment ring? So at the moment, we're very busy with the payment ring, getting it approved by all the different banks so that we can tokenize them. They can tokenize our wearables. I'll use it in that format. And the rings are going to take the country by storm. Absolutely, I think everyone wants one, and everyone's really keen to get theirs and their custom style and everything like that. But ultimately, like, as I was saying in the beginning, Vezopay we're a convenience company. If there is a way that we can make people's lives slightly better by adding some new tech that doesn't demand anything back from them, then we will do that. So we do have plans I can't mention anything right now, but it's a bit premature to mention what we do have planned. But there are plans to bring in some more of this passive technology to improve other aspects of life. And just to put it out there, like the ring itself. The ring itself right now is payment wearable. You can make payments with it completely passively, never have to charge it. It's waterproof. You don't have to take it off. You just go through life with it on, and you can make payments. But what we never mention, and we can, is that it also has a capability to do access control. So
Wow.
you can actually use, your gym tag. You can load it on the ring. You can load your complex's security on the ring. You can, and use that to get into your gym and into your complex and things like that. That's already pre-built into the ring. We're not launching with it, but it's there. So that's like one extra, if you think about that, like the direction we're headed is how can we make everyone's lives easier? And that's what we wake up and ask ourselves every day. And then just the ring having that extra functionality, I think, shows you that's where our heads are at, is, how can we make everyone's life more convenient, and the day to day. That's what we're about. So that's the future. Our future is making your life easier.
Thank you so much for joining me, Jake and Lawrence. It's honestly a pleasure, and I think it's very cool what you're doing with the Vezopay ring. And I'm definitely considering getting myself one because the prices are just awesome. It's very affordable, and I think it's also cool with something that I forgot to mention was also the customizable type of option that is available for people that wants that type of option. But once again, thank you so much for joining me.
100%. And if you want to go and reserve your ring now, go to vezopay.com and reserve your style.
Thank you so much. That's it. Tech Talk right here on The Wireless with myself, Jonathan Joseph. And that is Vezopay, a company that is leading in the wearable technology in South Africa and globally.